Today, we're talking about the mentality of a winner. There are certain mentalities that leave us poor. There are certain mentalities that leave us broke. We can't be doing the same thing we did 10 years ago and expect to be in business. Be consistent at what you do. Jack of all trades does not work. You need to know yourself, then know your enemy. You do not look at what you do from your view. Look at it from the view of the customer. The 21st century business is that business built on customer relationship.
I'm a communications officer for LBS, but I'm actually a broadcaster by profession. When I first heard about the masterclass, I'm a person who naturally loves to learn. Acquiring knowledge is actually one of my hobbies, as strange as it may sound. When you hear the term masterclass, you think, I'm going to be able to master something. I hope at least to be able to master my thoughts on business, strategy, planning, and possibly the mindset of a winner.
My name is Adedoku Ndiemi. I'm a teacher by profession. My passion is in education. I heard about Hexavian on the radio. I find some of the concepts that they come up with very interesting and all. And that was the reason why I came here. It's more about building a brand. That's what this is about, and I'm hoping I'll be able to learn new ways and techniques to achieve that goal.
The law of legacy. The law of legacy says that the true test of an enterprise is succession. The greatest use of life, the life I'm talking about, is not just your life, but the lifespan of the product that you have. The greatest assets, the greatest use of life is to spend it for something that would outlast it. The greatest use of life is to spend it for something that would outlast it. If you were to leave here now, what would you remember for? What is the legacy you've left? It's where most of us have failed in all areas, especially for the government. It's that bad. If you were to leave here now, what would you remember for? Create succession. You've run a business of 5 years. People who work with you cannot exactly explain, follow the same steps you follow to get the same results. You've created everything you need to create except for a mentee that will take over your business. In Owando, it's not the story of Owando, Wale Tinubu and Boyo. Who knows remembers Ego Boyo? The actress. Yeah, Ego Boyo, yeah, that's the wife to Boyo. Like, those are the two main people. There are about 3 people who really own Owando, right? Owando has a culture for planning succession. Owando has people who's working from graduate trainees, who's climbed the ladder to being 3rd, 4th. That's why you understand that why I'm very passionate about that company. It's one of those companies that I've done a lot of research and that these guys will be around for a very long time. Maybe not as long as Chevron and Shell, but they have the structure. They create structures, they create successions. It's sad that after 8 good years, 1999 to 2007, the best our president could give us was someone who was sick, and he knew he was sick. 8 good years, you couldn't create succession. If you know how long Clinton had been grooming Obama for the White House, you'll be shocked. If you understand the Chinese concept. But back to business, if you understand how these great businesses, you remember the story that the man said in Potter's Land, Coca-Cola MD, how long he's been in Coca-Cola. They've moved him from the current MD of Coca-Cola that came, was trying to explain his process. He's been in Coca-Cola, he's worked from the down, they've groomed him, they told him from the start that, look, this is what we're trying to do. They started with about 3-4 of them that grew from that start. They knew that out of you 3, one of you was going to be the MD. This was probably 10 years, 20 years down the line. So they create that platform. Succession. To every Elijah, there's an Elisha. To every Moses, there was a Joshua. To every Jesus, there was a Peter. That's not just Bible. To every Thomas Edison, there was a Tesla. To every Scott, there was a Carnegie. To every Fela Durotoye, there's a Steve Harris. It's a powerful principle. There's nothing else. At the end of the day, we can create whatever we create and go to sleep and not wake up the next morning. And all of that will be gone because our secret formula is within us. Share what you have. Share what you have. Create mentorship, mentees, mentor-mentee relationship is one of the greatest thing you can have. It's not too early. It's not the fact that you're struggling. That's why you can't do it. Somebody always tell me that, look, Izu, you need to be well to donate blood. You need to be well to donate blood. I'm not well yet. I can't donate blood. I mean, that same principle is the same principle why you will never donate blood. People think that you have to arrive and then you find out the greatest problem in this country is we do not have succession. As Jonathan is now, he might not know 2015 because he's so busy trying to be the next 2015 president that you don't even have a plan B. Do you know why Rivers State is the closest to Lagos in terms of performance? The last master class in Port Harcourt, we had a lot of, Port Harcourt is, I like the Port Harcourt master class, I already said on the radio. We had like a few senators who came for the master class. One of the guys who came explained, matter of fact, he wasn't just a normal senator. During Ada George, if you know the Rivers State, when Rivers was Port Harcourt, Rivers and Bayelsa were in one state. He was trying to explain that Ada George, he was the third in command. The senator was the third in command during Ada George. He said Ada George was governor, Peter Odili was vice. He was the secretary of, what's it called now? The third person, what are they called? Right? The same thing now, understand this concept. Then after that came coup plot and all that and military. Years after, the second in command, the deputy became governor, Peter Odili. You know the irony about it? Peter Odili then, when he was second in command, he would tell me that, like, I knew one small boy that used to walk around with Peter Odili. He was Peter Odili's PA. You know who that guy is? He wrote to me and met you today. See succession, 3 generations. You don't understand why, no matter how much you don't like APC, and I'm not politically inclined, I don't think I like any of them at all. But the fact is that the brilliance of Tinubu lies in Fashola. In all of the 36 state governors, no one created a more powerful succession than Tinubu. You'd agree with me, right? It's simple logic. That's even the only way to protect your territory, because this is what happens. If you don't do that, your partner will become your rival. So why don't you just make that partner your friend from the start? If you know the succession plan of Fashola, if you know the next governor, people who are close might most likely know the story. You now know how much these guys are ready. Lagos is not going anywhere out of APC anytime soon. The structure is in place. They probably have structure till 2000 and whatever it is, and they are grooming these guys, and they all have the same blood flowing in them. They still have this, they have the formula. In business, everybody here has to go back home and look for that one person that you probably make a PA. Someone who can, even if you don't have money to pay, someone who can work passionately for free. And I'm having a conversation here with my team in front of me. 80% of the people who'd ever worked with us would always come. The first seller is that we're going to work for free. None of them actually does work for free, but the truth is that's the exact spirit that wins a team. We need to create a system built on intellect, built on mental power, The greatest power you can have in project management, yeah. In project management, there are different powers you can have, right? There's what you call punishment power. In life, even in business, it's what you call punishment power. It's what you call reward power. Now, punishment power is the kind of power that police has. Do you understand? That's why a short policeman can slap a huge man. Not because the huge man can't beat him, but he has a power that's called punishment power, right? There's something called the reward power. That's the power that your father has, because if you mess up, he's not going to pay your school fees, right? There's something called referral power, the power that someone has because of the power that is bestowed on him. That's the power of the course rep, the class captain in primary school. Class captain has the power that is bestowed by the teacher, the school. It's not like you can also slap the class rep if you want. But in all of this power, you know the most powerful power to have. What you call expert power. Intellectual power, power driven in the mind. Look, if you have that power in this country, you have a new godfather, not the ones that write letter back and forth. Because we don't have anyone with that power. You know the power that the Waltons have? The power that the Rockefellers have in America? The powers behind the people who formed Freemason. They don't even fight for positions. Expert power is the power why the youngest person, one of the youngest people in this room, can probably sit down and have conversation and everyone is sitting. We spoke a few weeks ago in the British Council, and for the fun of it, I was driving, I was making a case. I was trying to explain to the team about expert power and why growing up, I used to just pass through Glover Road, and I just admire British Council. I wanted to be a member of the British Council. They had a book club, they had a library then. I never got a chance because I couldn't afford the fees. And here I was, and these guys would be on my case, come and speak. I was just cracking a joke that I'm just going to pay these guys back. I just didn't know how I'm going to do it. Like, I finally get a chance, and I go in there, and there's all these white people, and I say, please, can you please stand up for a second? And everyone stands up after insurance. I say, please, can you sit down for a second? And they say, please, can you stand up again? Can you sit down? I did like 4 times. Then I cracked the joke of the expert power, that if someone else came there and tried to do that, they would walk him out. But there's so much power you have. That's the power that the government has nothing on you. The people you don't touch. You don't touch. This is how powerful it is. When Ohakim, one thing that ruined Ohakim in Imo State was when he flogged a priest. That's called expert power. You don't mess with people like that. You don't mess with Oyedipo. You don't mess with Adeboye. Whether you like them or not, you don't probably mess with this kind of people. The same way you put Doku, the same way you put the militants. Those militants also have expert power. Expert power is not just intellect, which the most powerful power you can have is that. So what we've done with this series is just explain the principles. So now we can sit back and talk about strategy, about project management.